Okay, I think we can officially get started. Thank y'all for joining me tonight to discuss More Myself, A Journey by Alicia Keys. General thoughts, I loved it. I wouldn't say like I'm a huge Alicia Keys fan. I definitely was a fan, but not like over the top. But I loved it. What were y'all's general thoughts on the book?
I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about
I like the interactive kind of feel. Well, at least I made it that way. I know you mentioned it too, so.
Yes.
I listened on audio and then I read the last part to finish on time. And the audio was a definitely like stronger experience than reading it. It was really like that she had the people who wrote the intros to read them and things, and then the music and the fact that she sang the lyrics when she was referencing them, all of that was great. Yes. I personally found the book a little unfulfilling because it, like most celebrity memoirs, so it's really a genre thing more than a book thing. It's just a little bit light. It's a little bit kind of marketing material-esque, but that's the genre, so it's not really fair to judge the book by a thing I don't love about the genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot about her, and I feel like as I was going through the journey, I was stopping a lot to either listen to songs or Google stuff that I did not know about her. Especially like that first photo shoot that she spoke about, where she was kind of provocative, and I was like, I don't recall seeing this, so I had to go look. And like, you know, she talks about, you know, my pubic hair was showing. Sure enough, I'm like, oh, there it is. Like, so I found myself doing that a lot. Jamie said, so I missed the audio experience. Good to know. Yeah, the audio was really good. She sung a little bit. Not sure if y'all have read or listened to Mariah Carey's memoir. It wasn't as much singing as Mariah, which I really, really loved. But yeah, she definitely sung a good bit on this one. But it was kind of neat because I feel like, I guess I follow her in social media channels, and I guess for me, I feel like she's still kind of very private. Like, I really don't feel like I know much about her, just based on looking at her social media pages. So for me, this was kind of a little insight into her life, because there was just so much. Like, I don't even think she posts her kids to Instagram, or not that much that I can recall, because I was like, you have two kids? Like, with her and Swiss, like, there was just so much that she talked about that I was like, that was really, I didn't know. Anybody else feel like that? Like
I think I didn't realize she was as young as she was when she first started out.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I need to mute myself.
I was like, that's crazy.
Hold on, guys. Okay, sorry. My computer's about to shut down, so I had to switch.
Now we got two of you. That's so cool.
Right now, because this computer's about to shut down in about 5 seconds. So I needed to be on at least in one place. So y'all can see me in case something happens. But yeah, I felt like
surprised to see all of the.
No, go ahead.
I was surprised to see all the organizations she was involved with and that she started and was spearheading, because you don't hear about those things,
right?
And it was and especially with her being a young artist, I wasn't expecting her to be doing that kind of stuff, being a young artist.
Yeah, she definitely had been through some stuff. Yeah, and starting so early. I didn't even really know about the boyfriend.
Because she said they never really acknowledged that they were a couple. She just kept saying, we were business partners or whatever. So
right.
It was a little jarring to read how young she was. And that they started living together so young, like that I had a moment of like, wait, what?
I kind of hold on, two more people. Let me admit them. Yeah, and you kind of feel for dudes, you know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, it's like she looked older than she was, but you know, she's telling him, "Oh yeah, I'm 17. I'm 17." Meanwhile, she's what, 14 at the time? And I'm just like, okay, wow.
Yeah.
So that was a bit much. Y'all keep talking for a second.
Yeah, my daughter was telling me about that. She was listening to the book too, and she was like, Mom, yeah, you got to hear this part. She was like 14, and the guy was like 10 years older, and they were like together for 10 years. Have you got to that part yet? I said, no, not yet. She's like, okay, when you get to that part, we got to talk about it. I'm like, okay.
Yes, it was a lot going on. But they stayed together for some years, but for some reason, like Swiss is like the first guy that I've known her to publicly be dating. Like I didn't even, for me, I guess I'm not a fanatic. I love her music. We'll buy her albums and stuff. And even like, I know this is, you know, telling my age and stuff like that, but for me, like when I first got a car, like her album, that's when her first album came out. And it was like, I'm driving around and listening to her music. So it was memorable for me, but I'm not like a stan. So I just, until Swiss came about, I really didn't know anything about her romantic life.
I really liked the book for that reason too. I always really liked her music. One of her songs is going to be "My Husband's and My First Dance." And
Song.
Oh, no one here is gonna know. If I ain't got you.
Why would no one here is gonna know?
We didn't told anybody, and so like my instinct was don't say it, but then it doesn't matter.
Oh, you mean okay? Now I get what you're saying.
I'm sorry, we're gonna run to your page and post it. I thought you
no. It was an instinctive moment of whatever. But so it was really cool to like know more about her and her music, how her music came about, and like I know I said it still feels a little light, but it's still stuff that I didn't know, and like her writing process and things like that. Like I would listen to it while walking and then come home and work. And I would put whatever album she was talking about on in the background while I was working. Cause I was like, oh, I want to hear what she's talking about the process. I want to hear the songs. And so I thought it was really cool to hear how like the writing process and how her like how she evolved as an artist and all of that. Like, I agree with you, Renee. Those are things that I just didn't know because I just listened to her songs and that was about it.
Sorry, I'm relogging on with the other computer now. Yeah, it for me, and that's why I love memoirs. It's just because some people they're very private, and you don't like. I'm waiting for the day that Beyonce comes out with a book because she's extremely private, and I would love to know more about. Sorry, guys.
You did so good too. I was like, she was so close. She did the duel.
And I meant to just close it out, and I clicked end meeting for all, and I was like, I'm
Renee.
Look, we're just gonna.
Was it one of those you clicked it as soon as your brain was like, no, like too late?
That's it. And I'm like, leave meeting because I meant to leave meeting from this page, and yeah. So, anyways, sorry guys, we're gonna start over again. No kidding. Okay, let me just let Keela. Okay, sorry, Keela. I ended meeting, meant to just exit, and I ended it for everybody. So yeah, here we are. Sorry, more people coming in. Sorry, guys.
Everybody knew to come back.
I know. I'm like, please, everybody, please come back. And I'm so glad that y'all did because I just had a moment. Okay.
That's because we want to be here too. When your work meeting doesn't work out and you're like, oops, it didn't work. Bye.
Right. I'm like, click. Okay, let's start that over. Okay. So now that that's done. So for me, yeah, and I know I said this before, but it was really, really cool to kind of get an insight. I was wondering when she finally got to Swiss, how much she was going to let us in on that. Because, you know, there's so many rumors about, you know, that he left his wife for her and things. I mean, she kind of skimmed around the timelines and things and did note that they had to go to therapy and kind of work through some things. And, but I felt that was interesting. I mean, she still gave us a lot more than I thought she would. Matter
So
of fact,
yeah, but give you a lot more because honestly, okay, so I read the chat. She introduced Swiss, and then their relationship blossomed. They got married. All of this, and I'm like, hold up, she's not gonna talk about Mashonda at all. At all. I was about to go in the group like, oh no, I'm throwing this book in the garbage. And not that I want all the gossip, because I don't. But it's like, you mentioned Crucial Keys or whatever his name is. You mentioned him and his kid and his ex's kid that he still can't take care of. How could you leave such a big part out? So eventually, she kind of just, you know, we talked together and we had dinners together, but they're like go on vacations together now. It's like a group family, it's a blended family. I'm like, okay.
Right. But for me, it's like, what did it take to get
there? Like that, I feel like that's interesting. And she didn't give us any of that, which, I mean, maybe for Mashonda's privacy. Maybe Mashonda was like, no, don't talk about me.
That's what I was going to say. Then she'd have to share her part of the story. And then it's no longer her book. It's only her side, her story, and respectively. And I know what that's like because like I'm divorced and I have to be very, some people might listen like skirting around it, but I'm very careful because that's my children's father and he doesn't, I have to be careful when I'm sharing my story that it's my story.
Yeah.
Not, you know.
That's true.
That's true.
I think Mashonda has a book out as well.
I was just about to say that.
Oh, does she? Oh, thank you.
Yes, it's called Blended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that came out a couple of years ago. So maybe she figured we already read that, so it was old news.
That was kind of part of what I meant by that I felt was missing, though. I feel like anything where, this is going to sound overly dramatic, and I don't mean it to, but I mean, you write your own book, you get to do this, but anything where she might have been like, look bad, she didn't portray herself as perfect. Like she acknowledged things, but like telling a guy you're 17 when you're 14, like to just kind of throw it out there. It's like, oh, I did that. Haha, it's fine. And then like, oh, there might've been some stuff around this like perfectly blended family I'm depicting that wasn't so smooth to begin with. Like just some of that, which, hey, you're writing your story. Like this is your book. You get to decide what you're saying. But that's where memoirs fall short for me, and probably partially because I'm a journalist who like can't handle that. But like that was the part that for me, I was like, there's a clear something's missing. But like again, your book, you get to write it.
And her kids are young too. Like there's a lot, I like I said, speaking from personal, that goes into that. Like, and it's out there, so they'll read it one day. You just have to be tactful, I think. Because it's not a gossip column. And,
I agree.
You still own what you want to put out for everyone.
That's true. But she's a very private person. And I feel like this book, she's still a private person. Like she still didn't share that much. Like it was interesting to hear about the creative process, like someone else said, when she talks about her music, like, okay, now we're getting into it. But for the most part, she's very surface level. We don't really get to know her. Like outside of being reinvigorated in the music, we still don't, very surface level. Like we don't know much about her. And it's kind of like, what's the point? Like we love you, but if you wasn't gonna tell us a story, you didn't have to write the story.
Right. Or just go through your childhood.
You ladies are hard. I mean, that's her. She is still just Alicia. There's Alicia, the performer, and that's her, you know, like you don't get to know, you don't have to know that part of her. Like,
but then why write a memoir? That's the point of a memoir. She could have wrote a fiction book. I bought a fiction, but she could have made a kid's book. I'd have bought it.
Kids.
Oh, look, I was looking at
she is her music, like that's what she's known for. So I think she gave us a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like that's what she's the artist.
I agree with both of you, which like it's her book, she gets to do what she wants, but I wanted her as a person. Like
yeah, like for me.
Also,
go ahead. No, go ahead, Benita.
No, but I also was looking at so he had the son first, the oldest son, which is in college. Then he had his other son with the wife, which is what confused me because he got married to the wife from
you missed one, a daughter. There's a daughter.
No, the daughter came in 2008. I looked it up. That's what I was thinking too. So he cheated. So there's some story that we don't know because the daughter is only 9.
Get it, Benita.
2004. The son was born in 2006, and the daughter was born in 2008 while he was still married and is to another woman. Wow. So, you know, maybe they were on shaking grounds and they just never got the divorce finalized until 2010 when he got married to Alicia Keys. I don't know. Because that was...
All that happened in the same year too. They got married. Like I don't even know if he disclosed that in the book. I think I might have read that in some other research, but like the same year that he got divorced, they got married and she got pregnant. So it was just like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's also because, you know, it could take a while because I know my husband and I did the same thing. He was married, but they weren't together. He was living somewhere else, completely different. And when he went to go get the divorce, the judge told him he had to wait a year. All the while his ex-wife was already pregnant with somebody else's child, where they're like, well, look, I'm already pregnant with somebody else's child. We just want to get divorced. And they told him they had to wait a year, even though they weren't living together. And it had already been a year or two that they weren't living together. So when he got his divorce.
Yeah, it all depends on the state that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on the state that you live in. So like here in New York, you have to wait a year because that's what I went through. I had to wait a year, even though we hadn't been together for 2 years. I still had to wait a year for my initial filing in order to even get everything done.
Yeah. New York don't play that. That's exactly what happened. So we picked up the divorce papers that day and we filed our marriage license the same day. So
and they would have been in New York also. So same year timeline for them.
I have a funny story on the divorce and stuff since we're talking about timelines and who had already moved on. Same with us. My husband now is the witness for my divorce paper. So whenever I send in two, people are always like when I had to do my name changes and stuff, it's like, wait, what? Like, no, he witnessed the divorce and my ex was like, is Rick there? Like because we just went to the notary, like we were just gonna go. And they were like, you need a witness. I'm like, dang it. He was like, is Rick at the house? I was like, yeah. He was like, can you see him do it? So I called him. He was like, okay. So
whatever.
So,
whatever works to get the job done, whatever works.
Wow.
Does anybody wonder if she actually says Swizz like when they're just like in the house chilling?
Like, does she say his name? Yeah, I think about that.
I was wondering why she kept calling him that. Like, I don't know, maybe that's his stage name because that was what everyone called him for so long. And so like it is like a thing with his friends, but it feels weird that his wife calls him by his stage name. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think she does. I think she's on a whole nother level with him. I think she like uses his government name.
But then why use Swizz in the book? Like
because
that's what we know him as.
Government
yeah.
Who's she talking about?
Name. Like she references it, and when he's like introducing himself, or at least I don't know what it said in the book. In the audio, he like says his full government name, and then is like also known as Swizz.
Well, quick second though, did you guys peep? He said, "I'm Alicia Keys' soulmate."
Yes.
Whatever. And I was like, "Ooh, okay, we just going up there."
Right. Yeah, that was cute. The proposal was cute too.
The proposal was so cute. It was so cute.
It's funny because like they're really lovey-dovey and real spiritual, and it seems like they're real connected, but you don't get that from Instagram and all that. You know, they don't really show that side. So it was like when she rented out the whole Louis Vuitton store and had the surprise party, I was like, okay, like y'all doing something over here. Like that was cute. That was really cute.
Okay, that was another thing though. She kept referencing like how simple and they keep it low key, and then they do these like big extravagant things and like go on these major trips at the drop of a hat. Like again, do you like you can do that? No, like enjoy. But then like I like to be simple. I'm like, can you like are both true?
Right.
Yes, both are true.
Thoughts on her relationship with her mom?
Say that again.
What was everyone's thoughts on her relationship with her mom? Because there was one, I listened to the audio, and there was one part where her mom said, I don't know what she was going through, but her mom said, just remember you're a strong Black woman, but I know she's biracial. So I thought that was interesting that her mom would state that to her being a white woman.
I think that I think she mentioned that her mom raised her as a Black woman because she knew how difficult life would be for her. So she was kind of preparing her for that. But yeah, I did catch that, but I think that's what she said, if I can recall, that she said her mom raised her as a Black woman to know that side of herself. And then her dad was interesting too. I really didn't, I mean, I guess her parents aren't out there like that anyways, so I wouldn't have known her parents if I walked past them in the streets anyways. But the fact that she had such a strained relationship with her father, and even calls him Craig in the book, like, he's not dad. Yeah. Like, this is Craig.
That was probably the most personal details we got, were her relationship with her father.
Yeah. And writing the letter to him that one summer, like, I pretty much want to be done with you. And I wish she would kind of have gone into more detail, because it was like, after that, it was like, okay, he's at your wedding. And then it's like, okay, you're going to walk me down the aisle. And it was like, well, how did we get from here to here? Like, I wanted to know, like, are you still keeping in contact with him? Like, you wrote him a letter basically saying, I'm done with you. And then it's like, so how did we get to the point where he's invited to your wedding and he's walking?
I think it came about when the grandmother died.
Grandmother died.
That
I was just about to say the same thing.
As a son, not just as a father.
Yeah.
Like, I said that weird.
Yeah. That was sad too. Her relationship with her grandparents, like, both of them. The grandfather passed right before her fame, and the grandmother passed after her fame, I believe. Yeah. That was kind of cool that the grandmother got to see her, like, flourish and become.
The timing of buying the house, though, again, I'm listening to this while I'm walking. I stopped in the middle of the street. I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
That was so sad.
Yeah.
It was really sad.
And did you guys know, because I can't remember if I heard it when she was on Red Table or if it was in the books, but the song that I want to say that, I gotta get the official title. It's actually for her grandmother that everybody sings like a love song.
I definitely need
she said that in the book. And when I heard it that day, I was like, wow, this is about her grandmother. Like, that's so, yeah.
I didn't know she was on Red Table Talk, though. I
didn't know she was on there either.
Right. I'm gonna have to go watch that now. I also thought of her mom, me being a single mom, like, how much her mom did for her. Like, I was like, how did you even afford that? Because I know New York is gonna be expensive. So the fact that she was like, piano lessons, ballet classes, she was doing a lot. I mean, her mom, I understand why she has a good relationship with her. It's like, she did so much for her, putting her in these piano lessons, which is ultimately like what Alicia Keys is known for, that piano and her singing, so it's kind of neat to see how that led her to be where she is.
I feel like it definitely helped that her in theater and her mother was a creative person. So when she saw it in her daughter, she like nourished it. So she always like honed in Alicia's creative outlets. And she went to like a creative high school, like a performing arts high school too.
Yes. Yeah, her mom was spending some money.
She did.
Yeah, she definitely did. And then I thought it was cool because I think, and I need to go look at one of her songs is Diary. I don't know if she had an album named after that, but it's kind of interesting that she had these diary entries where she wrote poetry lyrics about her crushes and her feelings of her dad. Like, I thought that was really cool, and how she composed some of her work based on that. And then I'm just looking through my notes right now, and the other thing I wanted to say was, like, Clive Davis was the real MVP for me. Like, he had her back. I loved that she had the choice to, like, break off and do something else and go a different path. And she was like, nah, man, I'm staying with Clive Davis. Like, this is the dude who had my back 100%, let me do what I needed to do. And then, completely had his back. And I thought that was really cool. I'm like, Clive Davis, like, I really appreciated how hard he went for her and how much he believed in her.
Even when her manager and like the other record labels were trying to pitch her and give her more money, and she was like, no.
Pause for a second. Okay, so Jessica's about to come in here, and it's her birthday, okay? She just texted me, let me in. So say happy birthday when she comes in here, okay? It's her 40th. Hey, birthday girl.
Y'all gonna get the birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hello. Look, I'm gonna get on my computer too. Renee, you might have to let me in again.
Okay, well, I shut down the whole chat about 20 minutes ago by accident because my computer decided that it wanted to to reboot and whatnot, and I accidentally like left the chat on my phone and closed it down for everybody. So yeah, it's been an interesting night. Y'all lost I Be Without You, Jess? Needed you here.
I know, girl. You can't make it without me.
Well, happy birthday, love. Glad you could join us.
Thank you. Look, we did the early bird special with my parents. Dinner was like 4:30. I was like, how are we eating so early, y'all? So
I'm ready to go to bed.
Right. Glad I could make it.
Yeah. So we were just chatting as usual about the book, but I was talking about Clive Davis and how hard he went for Alicia Keys and how much I really appreciated that. And I loved that when she had the opportunity to kind of go a new direction, make more money, she kind of went with her heart and stuck with Clive. I know in her first initial deal, though, that piano must have been real tempting. She was like, I get a piano and some money, like, give me that. But her, I guess, agent manager, it's like, you can just buy a piano.
But, yeah.
Right.
No.
Just buy yourself a $25,000 baby grand, whatever you want to do. Like, you have the money, just buy it.
That's where you saw her age. Like, it didn't come through very often, but it was like those little moments where you can just like picture being, what is she, 15, 16 at that point? And like, it's the thing in front of you that you focus on, not the idea that you could get one. Like, those were the very few points I thought it came through.
I'm also wondering how her boyfriend at the time didn't see things like that. Like, to me, like, if you're 14 years old, you still have this mentality or these ways that are just eventually going to come out. You know what I mean? You can look older, but something had to have been like a trigger. That
She made the point that she'd skipped 2 grades, so she was a little more mature, so I can see that. But yeah, you're totally right. There need to be like some of those little moments, like have to come across.
14-year-old.
I agree. Like, even when you're
But I agree.
things like music or like video games, TV shows, you're like, oh, remember that TV show? No, I was 5 years old. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it was just a little off for me. Like, you can be mature, but you're gonna notice certain things. And then like her friends or something like that, like, I didn't get it.
But her friends were seniors in high school like she was supposed to be. So her friends were
older. She was the
younger. Yeah, so she was just younger.
Yeah.
It just seemed off.
So was there like a 10-year difference between her and the boyfriend?
There was an absolute 10-year difference between her and the boyfriend.
I thought it was,
and I was like, I can't believe she's right about this, but it's her story, so I guess you tell it, you know. And it of course, I went back to grown. I was like, but he did not. She was lying to him, like. Yes. But then the number kept changing. But I guess once you're in love with somebody, you know. But even like 24 and 17 is still a big difference.
It really is.
It's huge.
It was creepy.
It was creepy. It was really creepy.
Okay, I understand. I don't condone it, but they were already together for a long time at that point. So if he didn't want to leave her,
the love was there.
Side-eye, but okay. But her mom, did her mom know? Her mom, when did
I don't even think the mom never asked the age, I think. Like she
didn't.
She told him she was gonna go out on a date with him, but the mom, surprisingly, she said never asked the age. So she just didn't know.
Because she said he could be 24, he could be 18.
Yeah,
that's he looked young.
He looked young, and she was in an older grade, so she kind of just let the mom assume that that's what the deal was until when she moved out, she said the mom wasn't happy.
But then she's moving out at 16. I'm just
But she said it. She was like, but my contract got me out of the house because my mom didn't say, you know, once I got this money, mom was like, well, you helping me out too, probably was what mom was saying.
And plus, she had graduated by the time she moved out. She had graduated before she moved out.
Yeah, she had. The whole thing was creepy.
But she was 16.
Yeah.
Alicia, you're bearing a whole lot of stuff that's making me just kind of go, oh.
She made the point about moving out and about dropping out of Columbia that her mom didn't push her to not like ruin the relationship. But then she also stopped talking about her relationship with her mom. And I was like, well, so you saved the relationship, and they probably still had a great relationship. It just wasn't in the book, but it just felt weird that after she says that her mom did it to preserve the relationship drops out of the story.
Yeah. That is a good point. That's definitely a good point. I think they still had an amicable relationship, but it's just that, you know, she's busy doing other things. She wasn't every day with her mother anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're totally right. I just think it's just a kind of funny thing about the storyline, not her life. I don't think like.
Yeah, they drop out of the story, and then mom and dad are at the wedding walking down the aisle. I was like, how did we get here? Like, all kinds of confusion. So
I don't know how far y'all got.
No, you're fine.
But I I remember the whole Mashonda, whatever her name is. I was like, now she didn't say it. She just started talking about them dating, and all of a sudden they were engaged. She didn't say this man was married then all of a sudden then later she's like, we had to learn how to be a blended family. I bet you did, because that woman was married to that man when you
that part. And I said that. I was like, okay, so when I did my research, like they divorced the same year that her and Swiss got married and was pregnant. So
was pregnant.
Right.
I remember, and that was kind of what pulled me back from Alicia. Was like, I mean, even if the relationship was bad.
We discussed the timeline with the divorce, Jessica. We did.
Yeah, we tried to figure out the timeline.
We tried to help her out. Like, you have to wait for your divorce, first of all, for a year. And he had already cheated. He had already messed up that marriage when he had
messed it up. But it was like they had all these. I remember the headlines back then. Yeah. I got 3 kids, and he left me with it. I was like, oh God, Alicia, there are 3 sides to every story. Absolutely. But I felt like she kind of glossed over.
Yeah,
she did
that.
She did.
Definitely. Like, we went to therapy, and now we're one big happy family, and we travel together. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, she left some holes out.
I know it didn't start like that. So
it had to been a huge struggle. It had to been a huge thing in the beginning of their relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
How much it affected your career, that Mashonda went public about it, and even though you're a private person, now you're in the spotlight for this gossip, and it's like, how do you gloss over that?
It was definitely a gloss. I was like, oh, because I kept waiting for her to say, she was like, oh, we connected and we this and we were so, I'm like, but that man was married, girl.
Right. It was like a whole slew of problems.
I think that was very
do any of you guys remember Mashonda's song? Back in the club, and you drive me crazy. Nobody knows Mashonda?
No. I do remember that.
She had that one song. And I actually liked it. It was
that one song.
Yeah.
That was all she needed.
That's all she needed.
Yeah,
I had no idea she was an artist. I didn't know.
Yes, she was.
It was like, it reminded me of, and y'all don't see me, but when Britney Spears and that Kevin Federline, and he was still married to Shar Jackson. I'm like,
yes, yes, very messy.
So what do y'all think about like this whole natural movement that she's doing? I thought it was pretty cool, like, to be out there and not really worry about wearing makeup and things like that. But I've seen, like, on the internet, a lot of people are like, don't believe that she's completely natural. Like, she's definitely wearing some type of makeup when she's out in these streets. Like, I commend her. But I wanted to know what y'all's thoughts were.
Well, when she was on The Voice, and that it was during that time, and I was like, she has to have something on her face because of all those lights and stuff. It may not be all made up. So when she had that little part in the book when Adam was like, wait a minute, I thought you didn't wear makeup. And she's like, putting on a little makeup. I was like, because your skin would be all torn up. She may not be beat to the gods, as they said, but I was like, she has to have something on her face. So when she told him, I do what the F I want, I was like, that's hilarious.
Like that.
Sorry.
It's how I feel now. I just walk around with no makeup on because,
I liked the point that she made that, she wasn't going to be all made up to the point that she didn't look like herself anymore. But if she wants to, like, put on a lip, then she's going to put on a lip. And, I agree. That's kind of something that I've taken on in the last, I've been home for 9 months. So 18 months? I don't know. I don't know time anymore. But, like, I had gotten to the point that I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to work without makeup because I don't feel like doing makeup this morning. And it did kind of feel like, that was, I don't know, I don't know time anymore. But, like, I had gotten to the point that I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to work without makeup because I don't feel like doing makeup this morning. And it did kind of feel like, empowering feels too strong of a word, but like it felt like a thing that I was just like, I'm going to do this because this is my face and I want to do this. Now, obviously I'm a white woman, so the hair side of it for her, like I can't speak to it all, but just the makeup side, like that was for me kind of cool that she did it when she did it. And that her stance has kind of been this, like, if I want to wear eyeshadow, I wear eyeshadow, but you can't make me look like not me.
Yeah.
And see, I'm the opposite on that. I don't wear makeup normally. So if I wear makeup, it's for a special occasion. I don't normally put nothing on. I've never been good with foundation. I don't see how people can do it and not get like wear a white shirt and not have it all over their shirt. My clothes would look a horrible mess if I ever wore makeup like that. So I mean, and my mom, the way she didn't wear makeup all the time either. And then she taught us how to apply it like lightly. So even if I do have makeup on, you really don't know unless I want you to know. And so I've always been that way with makeup. I've never like everyday thing. I've never wore makeup like that.
I wear it well pre-COVID, but since COVID, I've been like I got a little bit on tonight because I went to dinner. But other than that, like during we've been out to dinner every night this week, and I was like, I put a little something on my face. My husband's like, for what?
Right.
Like, why? I like you. I prefer you without. Matter of fact, I was on Zoom wearing dark lips and stuff. He's like, why you got all that stuff on? I don't like all that. I'm like, well, I like it. But since COVID, like you said, I just like I go to the office one day a week. Why am I about to put on all of this to see 3 people? Because I don't leave the first floor. And I have a mask on her for my face. Whatever. Y'all are going to get what you get today.
When I put on makeup so much that when I put on makeup, I put on lipstick out of habit. Then I put my mask on. I'm like, well, this was dumb.
Right.
I did get one of these like things that you can put over your mouth so you can wear lipstick and stuff and it doesn't rub on your mask. So yeah, because I hate that. But I usually start work at 6:30 when I'm in office. So putting on makeup is like, it's not happening. Like I'm waking up at 4 a.m., working out, getting twins out the door to school, and then driving to the office and being there by 6:30. So makeup is just something that rarely happens unless I'm doing something like this, where I know that it's going to be on YouTube or whatever. Then I, try to put my face on. But for the most part, like if it's softball practice, whatever I'm coaching out to the grocery store, makeup doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I also don't look like Alicia Keys either. So like, I mean, she's like gorgeous, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, you can walk around with no makeup, no problem. Your skin is perfect.
I remember a friend telling me in high school, because I was lying in my eyes, she was like, you're gonna get addicted to it. You're not gonna like how you look without it. You shouldn't do it all the time. I was like, girl, I gotta wear. And she was right. Like after you start wearing eyeliner for a really long time, you're like, I look dead without, like it just.
That's why I'm scared to get false eyelashes. Because I know they're gonna look good, but then once I don't have it, then I'm like, oh, I can't. So I just never got false eyelashes because of that.
I'm that way about my eyebrows.
When people get like, they go to someone every 2 weeks, and I'm like, you're paying like $70 to do this every couple, like that's just outrageous. I have magnetic ones. I don't have them in now, but literally it's eyeliner that it's magnetic, and you just pop them on, and it takes 2 seconds. And I
put the liner on this evening, and I put the lashes on, and I was like, girl, it was 4:30. Where are you going with these lashes? I don't care if it is your 40th birthday, and I'll pop them right back on. Like, you're going to deal with your mom, your dad, your aunt, your husband. Why are you putting on fake lashes? No, I pulled them off because I was like, this is just not, it's not the occasion for it. But some people, like my makeup person, love you if she's watching. I don't recognize her without makeup because she's always so done up. Like, when I do special stuff, I've never seen her unmade up. So when I have seen her unmade up, I'm like, oh, like, I don't recognize
celebrities though, because most celebrities, they're made to be all done up because they're always in the spotlight. They're always being photographed for whatever the reason. They always have to look extra pretty, extra good, especially women. So to see them without makeup and you're like, oh, you're just regular. Like, oh, you're like regular pretty. Mm-hmm. It's different. And it makes them, I want to say look bad, not bad, but it's just, it lowers their cachet that, oh, you're not this gorgeous. No, you're just regular, just like us. So I think it's impressive that her as a celebrity decided that I'm just going to tone it down and do what I want.
And honestly, like I feel like she's more beautiful now, natural. Not that she wasn't beautiful before, but when I was looking through some of her old pictures and things like that, I was like, I really don't like her with most of her makeup looks. I did not like. Like I just was not feel. I feel like she looks better now, natural, than she did with all that makeup. And I was like, maybe it's just the makeup artist that she had, because most people who wear makeup, they like look really good, or look good both ways. But for me, like some of her makeup was just, it was so off. I wasn't feeling it at all. And I'm like, yeah, she looks better now to me.
So I remember at the time that natural hair being a part of it also. She was going no makeup, and I can't remember. It was natural or like not
straightening her hair anymore.
Yeah, it was not straightening. And I think there was something else to it too, that she was, she still had, she wore braids sometimes. She wore different, I don't know what to even call, like when she had the really long, like ponytail with like, it wasn't a braid, but it was clearly there was something to it. Like it wasn't just her hair put up in something, but she said she wasn't doing anything that was making her hair less of what it is. And that wasn't in the book, but I know it was a thing at the time. And I was really confused on that. Like, why wouldn't she talked about makeup? Why didn't she talk about hair?
The weave, because she probably still wear a weave now. So she's like, let me not even bring it up.
And we change our hair so much. It's like,
I also appreciate too that she had her own style. I never really thought about it, but like she had this whole tomboy thing going on where she wore fedora hats and pantsuits and blazers and things like that. And I really appreciated that about her too. It's like she wasn't gonna be like everybody else wearing dresses.
R&B women always have to be sexy.
That's it.
They always have to be sexy. And she was like, that's not me.
I'm good. Put some pants on me and a blazer and a fedora, and then her braids too.
I was about to say the braids. Like, I wonder if she knew that. Like, when I was in high school, we called them the Alicia Keys braids. Like what people are calling now. What is it called?
Lemonade braids.
No, not the lemonade braids. It's the ones where the braid comes like to the front.
Oh, the forward. Yeah.
And
Fulani
it has like
braids.
The Fulani braids. There we go.
Yep.
Back then, though, before we knew what they were really called, we were calling them the Alicia Keys braids.
Yes.
And like, I don't even think she knows that she like started a whole trend of those
Me and
braids.
all of my friends in high school.
Yes.
All of my friends. We used to go from Queens to Harlem just to get our hair braided. I babysit so many kids to get the money up because they were not cheap either. Especially if you didn't have long hair, they were not cheap. I remember spending like $200-$300 on braids. I babysitted everybody I knew so I could have that money. And we all wanted to look like her. We all wanted to have that easy, effortless, didn't look like we did much, but did everything look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the Brandy movement for me, except cornrows. Like she had these braids forever, and that was kind of her identity and who she was. Like you just knew her for braids. And actually, I don't even remember the first time that we ever saw her without them.
I don't think I still have. I was gonna say she doesn't do the braids anymore.
No, not at all.
I don't keep up with her, but I only know her with the braids too. That's crazy.
I think it was her second album where she didn't have braids.
Yeah,
Brandy.
Are we talking about Brandy without braids or Alicia?
We're talking about Brandy, not Alicia Keys.
Brandy's still wearing her braids.
Yeah,
that's
Brandy's
what I thought. Okay, that's why I was like,
yeah.
I didn't even know she stopped. Okay, I was
braids
talking about Brandy.
She moved on to like she does like a lot of twists and stuff now, and like the faux locks and all that. But she gonna keep a head of braids at all times.
Go stalk her on Instagram right quick.
I thought it was impressive. So Alicia was pretty young when they wanted her to change her look and to, put her foot down as a young artist in an industry where, she makes a point. There was a lot of stuff she didn't know and didn't know where to push, and that she, kept her look, kept her sound at that kind of young age. Like, hell, I didn't stand up to any kind of peer pressure at 14 when I was, I don't know what, I can't think of an example right now because that was a long time ago, but like, you think of the minor things you yielded to at that age, and she stood up on such a major level to adults. That's really impressive that she was like, no, this is my look. This is who I am.
She was empowered to do that with Clive. Like he stood by her and said, be who you are.
Yeah.
And who's going to cross Clive? I mean, seriously,
you're not. That's why she left Columbia, because they wanted her to change. Like, no way I would have had the strength to push and like change a whole deal that required million, like whatever money it needed to get me out of it. Like, no way I would have been that strong.
That's crazy. What was I gonna say? I was just looking at Brandy's thing. Yeah, she's still rocking the braids many years later. Going hard with them too. But I know there was a period where she stopped for like a split second. Because it was like shocking. Like, Brandy doesn't have braids. But yeah, definitely. Alicia Keys definitely.
Was it when she was on The Game? Did she have braids on The Game?
Yes.
No,
she didn't. She did not.
She wasn't wearing them then.
Yeah, that's when it
was. She had a weave. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I want to say for one of her albums, I can't remember which one, but I feel like
I think it was Full Moon.
Was it Full Moon? And was it Aphrodisiac? I feel like she didn't have braids then either. I may be misremembering.
I know for certain Full Moon she didn't have braids, because that's around the same time she was doing The Game, and so she had the weave in.
See, now we gotta
go look.
Brandy's story.
I know. I was like, now I gotta go look.
She gonna do her book.
Yeah, she needs to write a book about that spiritual marriage she had.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she does.
Kayla, stop talking about your sorrow and your sorrow's daughter.
Oh,
my sorrow and not ours.
Well, her mama is Beta Psi. She's initiated my chapter.
Oh my gosh.
Her mother went to Southern and was initiated in Beta Psi.
See?
Mm-hmm. She was, but that's your sorrow.
So I just scrolled back in Brandy's Insta, and she's got an album that came out, and in July she posted a video, and it's like unbraided, big, full, long hair for a couple of the shots, and a couple of the shots are braided. And it's like kind of jarring to look at her and be like, wait, what is that look?
Very interesting. But yeah, we're getting close to that time to end. But overall, I mean, I loved her story. For me, she could have gave me a little bit more, but I was appreciative of what she did give me, because it was still more insight to her than I had. Outside of her music, honestly, I mean, I love her music, but I didn't know anything about her outside of that. And her being married to Swiss. So yeah, for me, I enjoyed it. It gave me more insight. How about y'all?
I think in the parts of herself, like her spiritual self and her like intuitiveness and everything, like that was really like, it impressed upon me a lot. Like, I was like, dang, I need to like really take more time to myself and like learn deep into like who I am and what serves me. And like, I came away with a lot from it. Like, it was really calming. I really love her voice, her speaking voice. I saw somebody say earlier, she don't need to sing another lyric, and I'm with you on that. But her voice, like, I want her to narrate more books.
Yeah.
Her own, but like anybody's, like she has
meditations.
Some meditation. Something. I was like, yes, girl.
Yeah, the talking was fine. It was that singing, and all of a sudden it would just come out of nowhere, and I'd be like, oh.
Every time I was like,
it was not a lot. If there had been more of it, I don't know if I would have liked it, but it was sporadic enough that it didn't bother me. But yeah, it was a lot.
When she first came out, I was like, oh, this girl can sing. And then longer as it got, it's like, but she's a great musician. Now, I'm not going to take away from her piano skills and all of that. Like, but the singing, I don't know, it was just something about it. And I guess it was the classical mix with the hip hop at that time. It was like, this is dope, but so we weren't paying as much attention to the voice.
Exactly.
Her voice needs work.
Yeah, her voice needs
work.
But she is a great she's a great creative. She can write some songs. She can play some the piano. She looks good. She was definitely marketable, especially for the time that she came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Do I want her to just sit there?
Talk about the breakup from her group. Like, they were a group, like pitching together.
Hard and Crucial.
And then eventually, they kept saying, no, just
Dubai. The girl group at the very beginning.
Right. Like, how does her friends feel? Where she's still friends with them?
Didn't they show up later in the book? Like, I don't know if it was to her. I don't know if it was to her wedding or something. But
I'm not sure.
I felt like they showed up.
I thought Kat in her group, and then was at the very end was one of the like intro blurbs that I don't know what to call. But I don't know. I thought she was in the group, but maybe not.
Can't remember. But I feel like they came back in the story and like they appeared somewhere. And I don't know what it was.
Friendly, I guess nothing, negative became of it. But not when she mentioned it, I was like, oh.
I mean, I'd be mad, but at the same time, it's like if you had that opportunity, who's not going to jump at it? When somebody wants you to be a part of something, you got to take that, man. I can't be mad at you. Like, they want you. If it's either one of us make it or none of us make it, you know what I'm saying? Like, just
And it happens to every single group. Any group story you hear about, it's always somebody being picked out because they're the best, they're the most marketable or whatever, and they end up going solo. I can't think of one group that hasn't happened to.
I can think of two.
Okay, tell me.
Beautiful. The OJs.
Okay.
And Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh,
yes.
Except Philip Bailey did his own little thing too.
And then he came back.
But then he came back. He did his solo projects, but he never left the group.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's men, but women's groups, men's too, because Michael Jackson, Babyface, like all of those, Teddy Riley, like anybody you could think of pretty much. But Teddy does better, I think, with groups than he does by himself. But he's a producer.
He's a producer.
He's an Alicia Keys. He don't got the talent, but he got the creative.
all of the people, when you really think about it, is all of the people that break away are the super talented ones in the group.
Yeah,
it's never Kelly. Kelly's done her thing. Michelle
Kelly had a good run.
But it's Beyonce. And I don't
Kelly
know if Beyonce
back,
is
y'all.
the
Kelly
talented one or more the curated one. But her talent has developed. But when they were all young and formative, she was just a hard worker. Diana Ross, same thing. She was the one elevated. Was she the one? She was who they moved to it. But you're right. It always happens. There are very few groups that I can think of, other than those two that I named, that somebody doesn't break off and do their thing.
Yep.
To your point, Jess, just what you said, it's always the one that has from a business product, like the Columbias and all that. Why am I going to pay three of y'all when I can tell, and they're in the profession, so they can pick up on that right away. Why am I going to pay all 3 or 5 of y'all when it's her or him
that can
make me the money?
That's it. That's it, or can make me more as a solo artist. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I'm David Ruffin.
Now I want to watch that movie.
Right, I gotta go watch it.
Oh, God.
This has been a great chat, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. Jess, especially, thank you for joining us on your birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's a milestone.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Y'all see my shirt?
Yes, chapter.
I love it.
How appropriate. Chapter 4.
My mama said, is that Kamala Harris's AKA chapter? I was like, Mom, no. No. My daddy was like, chapter 4. And she's like, oh. She didn't get it at first.
Thank y'all for joining as always and bearing with me through my technical difficulties and my moments today.
Thank you for hosting.
Always. No problem. And you guys know that Yellow Wife is our February book of the month, and we will have Sadiqa on there with us on March 3rd, I believe is the date. So yeah, read this one. I've heard it's really, really good, and I'm excited that we'll get to speak with the author for that one. So
awesome.
Y'all have an amazing night. Jess, have a happy birthday.
Thank you. Did you see Mr. Johnson make a cake?
Yeah, he just
that might be the first time I've seen him in person in the flesh. Get back here, Vaughn.
They need to know. They need to just wave.
I just got out of prison.
Hey, Vaughn.
We about to drink. We got to go.
We got to go.
We'll talk to y'all later.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.